What's up, guys? So I was having trouble taking a video the other day, so I kind of just took a break from videos for a little bit because I was getting really frustrated, and it might cut out during this video. Hopefully it doesn't, but yeah, I'm on the Ironton Trail in Allentown, PA, and I'm getting my trail hiking videos going again. So I've got a topic that I want to talk about this video, but I'm just gonna talk about it to you guys while I'm hiking the trail and stuff. So yeah, basically what I wanted to talk about is the 8 Sabbats, their meaning, and just the idea behind each of them. So the first Sabbat is technically Yuletide, but I think I want to talk about Imbolc first because I think it will make for a better video structure, and it adds to the overall atmosphere of the video. I think a lot better. It makes for a better video, in my opinion. Anyways, basically, Imbolc takes place on the same month as Groundhog Day. I don't know if it's the same day or not, but something that you need to know about the Sabbats is that the month that they're on, the entire month is the Sabbat, but the day that it's on is the actual peak of the energy. It's the time when the energy of the Sabbat is the strongest. And so basically, and it's on the same, from what I understand is it's around the same time as Groundhog's Day, and it's a similar, and I think that Imbolc was considered to be kind of what Groundhog's Day was before they had Groundhog's Day or something like that. I could be wrong though. It's essentially a celebration of the coming of spring. It's the time that marks when spring is on the approach. And which makes sense when you think about what I said before that about Groundhog's Day, because Groundhog's Day is also basically the same thing. It's talking about how when the groundhog comes out, if he sees his shadow and jumps back inside, that means spring, 6 more weeks of winter or something like that, 3 more weeks of winter or something like that. But if he doesn't see his shadow, then winter is almost gone. Spring is on the approach. So it's a very similar celebration, except the whole point of Imbolc is purely just marking the approach of spring. And so I think that's about it. I wish I had more to tell you. Oh yeah, it's also called the Festival of Lights. I wish I had more to tell you about it, but I can't remember the rest of the traditions surrounding it, and I can't remember what we do for celebration of it. So I'm gonna have to do research and talk more about it in a later video or something. So the next one is Ostara. Ostara, I think, takes place on the 3rd month of the year. Before I get into that, I want to tell you which month Imbolc takes place on. It's the first month of it. It's the first month of the year, and Ostara is the 3rd month of the year. And Ostara takes place in April, from what I remember. And Ostara is essentially the pagan version of Easter. It's what Easter was before Easter was Christianized and became Easter. And Ostara is a celebration of the arrival of spring, and it's a celebration of fertility and creation. And because it's spring, so everything is being born, everything is coming out, flowers are blooming, birds are being born, things are hatching from their eggs, everything is coming to life. And so it's a celebration of fertility and birth. And awakening. And that's why on Easter, you've got the whole, you've got that whole, thing with, eggs and hiding eggs and stuff like that. That was originally an Ostara tradition, the whole hiding eggs thing, because because eggs are representative of fertility and birth. And then that brings me to the third Sabbat, which is Beltane. Beltane is known as the Festival of Fire. It's the time of year when the sun is highest in the sky and the temperatures are the hottest. And basically,
I know what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Beltane is the summer festival. And one of the traditions of it is this is actually one of the ones that I know further into, the traditions of it, but one of the traditions of it is to basically run and jump over, basically they have a lot of bonfires during this time. They have a lot of outdoor parties and activities and stuff like that. It's a lot of people just coming together and sitting around a fire and having good times over the fire, talking around the fire and just stuff like that. And basically one of the traditions in it is to run and jump over the fire and 3 times and make a wish. And I don't remember many of the traditions of a lot of these, but I gotta do some more research on them and maybe make a part 2 of the video and talk more about the traditions and the activities and stuff that people usually do with them. But anyways, that brings me to our next Sabbat. Oh, by the way, Beltane is on the 5th month of the year. Just checking to see if the video is still going. Anyways, that brings me to our next Sabbat, which is Litha. Litha is a time of union and marriage and partnership. And basically what Litha is it's the time when the sun is basically becoming at one with the earth, coming to marry. Basically, the sun is coming down. The sun god is coming down and marrying the earth goddess, coming together with the earth goddess. And this is a time that marks the approach of the harvests. And I had a lot more to say about this, but I can't remember what it is. So I'm going to go into our next Sabbat, which is Lugnasad, which is the first harvest, the grain harvest. This is the time this is a time of reaping the rewards of your hard work. And basically the fruits of your labor back in Ostara when you planted the seeds, the time of like fertility and giving life, are starting to grow to fruition during this time. Now this is only the first harvest, the grain harvest, and then the next harvest is the fruit harvest, which is, well, I think that it's more, the fruit harvest and the vine harvest and other things like that, which is Mabon, which is on the 9th month of the year. Lugnasad is on the 8th. So they're one after the other. And essentially, Lugnasad is about harvesting fruits, and barleycorn and other stuff like that. It's a time that's very just a second, I'm looking at the map for this trail. Okay. So like, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going right now. I'm not sure which direction I want to go in. I'm thinking I want to go this way for today. I'm probably not going to finish the whole thing today, but I'll make another video and finish the whole thing some other time, at some other point. Anyways, so this is a time that's like, there's a lot of drinking involved in this season. They have a lot of wines, a lot of beer in the tradition. It's a very like festive sort of time from what I understand. It's the time, and it's basically the time when in Lugnasad, the sun god essentially shines his rays into the grains and becomes one with the earth in that way. And then in the fruit harvest, his energy spreads into the vines. And that's like the whole idea behind it. There's this whole like symbolism of the sun basically giving life to everything and becoming one with the earth as it shines its light upon the world with the Sabbats. And so basically and so I want to move on to our next Sabbat, I think. My mind is a little bit cluttered today, so I'm having a little bit of trouble with this. But I want to go on to our next Sabbat now. And our next Sabbat is Samhain. Samhain is basically marking the departure of the sun god. It's basically the time of the season where the sun is the lowest in the sky, and in a lot of like Icelandic, Nordic regions and stuff like that, I think Greenland as well. A lot of those regions, basically what happens during this time is the sun, the earth tilts in a way that the sun is always below the horizon, and it's and the earth is so like the sun doesn't rise. The sun just stays below the horizon, and it's just dark throughout this whole season. And so it's during this time, Samhain, it's marking the sun's departure. And this is a time when the sun god goes to underworld. The sun god goes through a death of sorts, and he rides across the land to find souls to take with him to go into his rest, to go into rest with him. He brings all the lost souls that have passed on down with him to underworld. Oh.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And they rest and await for their rebirth. And basically that's a thing that happens. And Samhain is basically like the season of death and rebirth. So it's death and rebirth because death and rebirth are one and the same. And there is no separation between the two. And the next Sabbat is Yuletide. That Sabbath is a time that marks the return of the sun. It represents the rebirth of the soul. And it's the time when the sun starts to rise up in the sky again, because the earth is tilting back over towards the direction of the sun. And there's a lot of it represents the return of life to the earth. The coming return of the life to the earth. And so did I mention that Sabbath is called Yuletide? I think I may have, but I can't remember. But anyways, so there's an overall theme with the Sabbats. It's basically, the Sabbats are basically marking the sun's path across the sky. Each season is a time that marks a different point in the sun's journey across the sky. And each celebration represents the different type of energy that is around during that time. During Samhain, everything is kind of dying. Leaves are falling off of trees. The plants are going gray. And everything is starting to get colder. The earth is going through a form of death, in a way. And then, as the sun comes back up, it starts to melt away the ice. And as the ice melts away, life starts to return. and things get hotter and warmer, crops are able to be grown again. That leads us to Astara, where everything is reborn, becoming born again. And the sun gets higher and higher in the sky. And the cycle begins anew. It's an endless cycle. It's these seasons, the Sabbats, are basically times that represent the cycle of life and death. And our whole world moves in this cycle. Everything moves in this cycle. Everything works on this basis. Even the things that even the state of the world right now, even everything with everything that's chaotic that's going on, all of that is just a part of this cycle. It's a part of the birth process. When you're giving birth to a baby, it's a miracle. It's a beautiful thing. It's the coming of a new life into this world. But it's painful. And it has to be painful. Because that's just how things are. It's a lot. Sometimes it's a bloody process. But it always gives way to something new and something beautiful. And that's what's going on in this world today. The world is just giving birth to something new. And it's probable that it will go through the same cycle again. The death and rebirth of the light. The coming and going of the sun god. It's all just a part of the cycle. Anyways, blessed be everybody. Have a beautiful day. I love you all, and peace.